All right, so the Motley Fool asks, will Social Security be around for future retirees? 71% of workers fear it won't. Are benefits really in trouble? And if so, to what extent? Maury Backman wrote this, the TMF book nerd. So let's take a look at old Maury's bio here. She's a personal financial, she's passionate about educating others, She believes a healthy dose of sarcasm never hurt anyone. In her limited spare time, she loves playing in nature, watching hockey, and curling up with a good book. All right, so I like old Maury there. She looks pretty young, but I can't tell. But that's no big deal. Hey, let's just read. Millions of seniors today rely on Social Security to pay the bills. But whether future retirees will get the same opportunity is apparently more questionable. In fact, 71% of workers today fear that those benefits may not be available to them once their careers come to a close, according to that Wells Fargo study I talked about the other day. But are their concerns grounded in reality? Or are more workers just buying into a glaring myth about Social Security's potential demise? What the future looks like for Social Security. Let's be clear. Social Security is certainly facing some challenges that, if left unresolved, could result in as much as a 20% cut in benefits. Of course, these projections could change in the coming years, but that's where they stand at present. Remember, they stand at present based on what? All right? Based on the intermediate assumptions of the trustees report. The intermediate assumptions of the trustees report. So you got the low cost, the intermediate, and the high cost. And if you look at the trustees report, you can see some glaring issues when it comes to the intermediate, as well as what will lead us to a 20% benefit cut in 2035. I have no clue if it's going to come to fruition or not, but just remember, it's not as if the trustees report said this is what's going to happen. It's saying this is our intermediate. Now, the trustees report does a bunch of Monte Carlo projections as well, given the various inputs that they have. Which is I find it incredibly interesting. But just remember, the intermediate is the middle of the road where they think things are going to be. But that includes a 5.5% unemployment rate from 2027 until 2094. 5.5%. It also includes, I think, the interest rate was like 2.3 for the intermediate term bonds. I can't remember. But anyway, be it as it may, the intermediate assumptions we're not anywhere near that right now. All right. So while reduction in the benefit isn't good news for current retirees, it's by no means the same thing as having no Social Security at all. Could not agree more. I 100%. So far, so good with old Maury here. I like what she's writing. And that's what today's workers need to realize. Social Security isn't in danger of disappearing completely because it gets funding from payroll taxes. Therefore, as long as we have an active workforce and continuing taking FICA taxes out of paychecks, it will continue to exist. I'm telling you, and that active workforce, the intermediate report, is based on 5.5% unemployment. We are not there. We are at 3.6% now. Whether that maintains, I don't know. But if Japan is any guide, Japan has a 2.8 or something like that, 2.6% unemployment. It's been like that for a long time. That said, it's not bad to think the worst when it comes to Social Security, because doing so might inspire you to actively fund your own savings. I agree with that. Though Social Security isn't disappearing, one thing today's workers should know is that those benefits will only replace about, see, this is the issue, those benefits will only replace about 40% of the average earner's pre-retirement income. The average earner, doesn't mean anything. Pre-retirement income doesn't mean anything. So let's take a look at what my man who sent this to me, Tim, had written, who sent me this article. Tim had said, which I thought was pretty interesting. All right, so he says, it's interesting. Social Security replaces only about 40% of pre-retirement income, but his average pre-retirement income too, Tim. So remember, Bill Gates, he makes $10 billion a year. Josh makes $1 a year. Our average income is $5 billion a year. So you can't look at averages in this regard. But anyway, Tim says, but when we look at required spending, Social Security will be nearly 100% of our replacement. See, that's the issue, my man Tim. Social Security will replace about only 20%. So Tim says Social Security will only replace about 20% of his pre-retirement income. But when we look at required spending, it will actually be nearly 100%. Do you see the discrepancy here? Your required spending, your spending, how much does Social Security replace there? That's all that matters. I could care less what it replaces on pre-retirement income. So that's why it's crucial for today's retirees to build their own nest eggs. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, so we got, while Social Security is not on the verge of being eliminated, today's workers are right to be concerned about its role in retirement. I don't have a qualm with that, but just remember, like my man Tim says, Social Security will only replace 20% of his pre-retirement income, but it will replace 100% of their expenses. See the difference there? It's a big deal. Know what your expenses are. I will see you.